friends, it's Carolyn Zick here with Zick Stitch, and today is Saturday, June 6th, 2020. Welcome to my channel about cross stitch. We've had several new subscribers, so welcome. I'm so glad that you're here, and welcome back to those who are returning. I have a lot to cover today, so let's just jump right into it. First of all, thank you to all of those who had suggestions for, I forgot to pull it, of course, but I'm working on Blackbird Designs Easter Parade. I'm working on the bunny. And last week I showed that I'd gotten some ink from my computer printer, not the computer, the printer. If you use a inkjet printer, the ink it's something with how the printer works where the ink is laid on top of the paper. And so it can rub off. And I had printed my working copy of the pattern, and I had folded it backwards so that the ink was touching the fabric. And of course, I got a little spot of ink. So I was asking for help on how to remove that spot. A lot of you suggested a Tide stick or a Tide to go stick, which is great. Someone suggested tape, putting tape and just trying to lift it off there, which I think I'm going to do that because it just worries me to put anything liquidy like a Tide stick. Somebody else suggested aerosol hairspray would remove it, and that also scares me a little bit just because there are some over-dyed threads in there. So I think I'm going to try the tape. I haven't had a chance to try it yet. And if the tape doesn't do it, a lot of you also suggested this, which I think is what it's going to end up happening, is just stitching over it. So I don't know. It's in a location where I'm not sure if it's going to be stitched over anyway on the pattern. If it's not, I'll just make something up and stitch something in that place. So thank you so much to all of you who had tips and advice on how to get that spot out. So if you're in the market for a printer, I recommend a laser printer, which is what I have now. My inkjet, I got a new printer for Christmas that's a laser printer. It's actually giant. It's I didn't realize this when I added it to my Amazon wish list, and then my folks actually bought it for me for Christmas. It's intended for small businesses. So if that gives you, it's just a black and white printer, so I no longer have color, which I will miss, but it's also very expensive to buy the ink cartridges for color. So I'll make do. If I need something in color, I can always go to Staples or something and get it printed in colors, or like Kinko's. So if you're in the market for a printer and you plan to print working copies or PDFs of patterns, I highly recommend either putting them in a sheet protector, which is normally what I do, so I don't know why I didn't on this particular one. And I recommend a laser printer, which it puts the ink into the paper somehow by lasers. Maybe. I don't know how it works. But laser printer is what you want. And I've also noticed too with inkjet printers, if you highlight over, it'll kind of smudge the ink as well because the ink, it like never fully dries or something. You're not here for computer talk, are you? And then another comment, Crafty Cat. So Anne had asked, how do I manage all my fabric, especially on my larger pieces in my Q-snap with the grime guards? And I showed how I kind of just roll it up. Crafty Cat said that yes, she does that as well. And she suggested when you roll the fabric, you can also use like a dowel or something like a paper towel, the cardboard. When you use up a roll of paper towels and there's that cardboard tube, she said you can use that as a guide to kind of help you roll it up if you want that as a guide. And then she says she just clips the ends and it keeps it neat and tidy. So that's another tip that I wanted to pass along to you as well. And then we have a few new Flosstubers. Now I'm caught up on comments, so I think I found a stack of comments that YouTube thought had marked as spam or potential spam. So the way on my end, I can go in and I can see comments that I haven't replied to. And then there's a little tab that says comments we think are spam. And you can go through those and you can kind of decide, yes, this is spam, no, this isn't. So sometimes if somebody just leaves a emoji, like a heart, sometimes it works and I see it, and sometimes it filters into the spam folder. It just depends on YouTube. So there was a chunk of comments that for whatever reason got filtered into the spam. So I think I've replied to everybody, and some of the people go back like 3 or 4 weeks. So my apologies, but I think I'm all caught up on comments now. But in those comments, and these are the recent comments, We have 3 new Flosstubers in our midst. So I'm sure there's more than that, but 3 people this week have told me that they've started a Flosstube channel. I haven't had a chance to check them out yet, but I'm going to link them down below, but I want to mention them to you. First up is Nadine Nads X Stitch. And I'll put, I'll write it out here so you can see it. As well as hear it. So Nadine has a new Flosstube channel, and that's the name of her channel, is Nadine Nads, N-A-D-Z, X Stitch. So check her out. She has a couple videos out already. And then the next one is Patty Smith, and that's her YouTube name, is Patty Smith. So please check out Patty's. And then Kim and her daughter have a channel called Stitch and Stuff. So those are 3 new channels. They're all subscribers to my channel and told me, hey, I started this Flosstube. Feel free to check it out. So I just wanted to put that out there. If you're looking for some new Flosstubers to follow, go ahead and check them out. I'll be checking them out this week while I'm stitching as well. So I'm excited to take a look at their channels. On that, so I have created a new Facebook group. So we have our original Seasook Stitch Facebook group. If you're on Facebook and haven't joined us, go ahead and join us over there. There's 3 super easy questions you have to answer just to keep the spammers and the trolls away. And so that's just kind of our daily updates. Let us know how you're doing. What are you working on? And then I created a new one called Friends of Run Hallo. There's a lot of people who either are working on Run Hallos, have started them and kind of put them away, burnt out on them, and are kind of getting re-inspired to pull them back out. People who are thinking about starting Run Hallos, or people who just want to look at the Run Hallos. So this group is for anybody. Again, there's 2 or 3 questions that you have to answer. They're very straightforward. It's just to keep the trolls away. It's really that's why these groups have these questions, is to make sure that you're a stitcher, or that you're at least interested in stitching, and not a troll who's going to just kind of take over the group. So that's why these groups have these. It's not to see if you qualify to be in the group. It's just to make sure you're not a troll. So that said, so if you are at all interested in Run Hallos, I'm starting 3. There's couple more at least that I want to start. Maybe not this year. But if you like looking at them, it's a small group right now because I just started it and I really haven't marketed it. But if you're interested, I had a whole list of people from my last from the Mania, basically the Mania starts that I did, where I started 3 Run Hallos. A whole bunch of people were like, oh, I gotta pull mine out. Oh, I want to start this. So I think there's 12 patterns in all, maybe 10 or 12. I can't remember. So if the ones I have started and shown on this channel don't speak to you, there are other ones as well. So you can definitely check that out. But join us over on Friends of Run Hallo. And we did a little bit of research, and by research I mean a very quick Google search, to see if Run Hallo was a real place. As far as I can tell, it is not. But then I threw out the idea, if we all pool our money, buy an island and we can name it Run Hallo. So if you would like to join us, we'd love to have you over there. Okay, let's get into the stitching, the show and tell part. No finishes this week, so that's fine. I did have a new start. You may have seen that video. It's on my channel. Jan Hicks of Jan Hicks Creates and I started Balmy Spring Day, which is our second Haid we started together. We did a stitch with us for Balmy Spring Day, and we just chit-chatted and whatnot. It was really, really fun. So this is what we are starting on. Jan started over here in the blues. I started up here in the upper left corner. And this is artwork by Erin Dirtner, and it's charted by Michelle at Haid. So this is how far I got. It's not much. It's a lot of 310, 3371. I am stitching this on 25 count Lugana. In that video that you saw, the stitch with us, I was doing tent stitch, 2 strands over 1 box tent stitch, which is just half cross, essentially. Then Jen and I had a whole discussion about how sometimes there can be warping in the fabric if you're doing tent, because the way that the threads are pulled can distort the fabric. And a lot of people commented and gave tips about you can do it. It just, you have to switch up how you're doing your stitching. Well, after Jan and I recorded that, I wasn't feeling great, to be honest. I wasn't really loving it. And that evening, I actually ripped out everything I started on during that Stitch with Us. And I restarted it, and I'm doing one strand over one box on 25 count full cross. And I like it so much better. It's quite full, but I just feel like I can see, for those of you who have switched from over 1 to over 2, you know how it takes a while for your eyes to adjust to seeing the boxes and whatnot. I feel like doing full cross to half cross is similar for me anyway, that my eyes just don't see the holes in the same way or something, or where the needle is supposed to go. It's just a lot more mental work. So I switched to full cross, and I really like it a lot better. So I did, this is in total a 4-hour rotation. That 4 hours includes ripping out everything I did on the Stitch with Us. And I felt really bad. I felt like somehow I was, I don't know, like cheating on Jan or something. I don't know, because I ripped it out that evening. We filmed, we uploaded, and I ripped out what I had done. But I'm really, really happy with it. And this one so far, knock on wood, this first so this is the first diagonal. Oh, I'm using Pattern Keeper. And in Pattern Keeper, you can designate if you want your diagonals to be 10 stitches wide, which is, I think, probably the most common, or 20 stitches. And on this one, I'm doing 20 stitches. So this is my first diagonal done. I'm starting on the second one, but they're 20 stitches wide, and it's going well so far. And the nice thing about this is it's a block of color right here anyway. I know that will probably change, but it was really nice to feel like, I have this whole block of color. I think this whole section from here down, this whole like little point of the diagonal there was all 310. So it was really fun and easy. I'm like, I'm doing a height and I'm doing a block of color, and it's really funny that this fall meets spring day, and I think we talked about this on the Stitch with Us. You know, it's a really beautiful springtime scene, and where I started, it's all like 310, really dark colors. But, so, plans moving forward. So, I want to put this in my regular rotation. Now, you know I'm doing Farewell to Anger. I have that on a 4-hour rotation each month. And there's a million other things I want to do and am working on. So what I think I'm going to do, so I did 4 hours on this month, which means to be equal, I want to give 4 hours to Farewell to Anger as well. Then moving forward after this month, I think what I'll do is I'll do a 3-hour rotation on each of them each month. 3 hours I can do in an evening, even on a weeknight. I know some of you stitch 10 hours a day, and I'm looking at you. I know some of you stitch 7-8 hours a day. Gary, I'm looking at you. I don't. Typically, during the work week, I can typically get in 2 to 3 hours. Weekends, I can get a bit more, but I only stitch in the evenings, unless it's 24 hours of cross stitch. I don't know why. Jan makes fun of me because I think the stitches look different in daytime, and I think it's harder for me to stitch in daytime. Anyway, I know it's all in my head, and I'm going to try to break that habit over the coming year, actually, so that I can stitch, but I am busy during the day, so I work a regular job that has regular office hours, and then I'm teaching on the side, so a lot of my free time during the day is devoted to work, and then this is my evening relax time. Anyway, so I think moving forward after this month, so I'll do 4 hours of Farewell to Anger this month. I will do 3 hours of each of these, so that would be one evening, essentially, on each of them each month. And I think that seems reasonable. I can do it in one evening. 4 hours and a chunk of time on a Haid in one evening is a bit much. So then it ends up, because I usually can do 2 to 3 hours. So then it would be 2 evenings, and that just takes up a lot of time. So no more Haids for now, okay, Jan? But I'm happy. It's always fun and exciting to start a new Haid. I did order the materials pack from Haid, which means they give you the fabric. You get your choice, so you can tell them what fabric you want, and they give you all the DMC pre-cut on cards. I am having to pull them off the cards just to put them in a system that works for me, but you would not have to. You would just be ready to go. So it's working really well so far. That was a lot of information about that hay that I did not necessarily expect to give. Okay, so next up is Autumn at Gowron Hall. So this was my last mania start for the month of May, and I started up here in the top border. My goal on this is to get half of this piece done by next Halloween. So by Halloween 2021, if I can have the top border and 6 of these blocks done, I'll be thrilled. That's a lot because there's a lot of stitching here. Here's a close-up. A lot of stitching, a lot of houses, which are, a lot of full coverage in these. The thing about these Gowron Hallos, if you only like certain scenes, you can these are charted individually. Each scene is charted individually, and they each have a border around them. So you can just pick and choose. If you want to do say you like the top 4 and that's all you want to do, you can just do the top 4. Or if you only want one, or you want to make them into ornaments or little pillows, you can easily do that. You don't have to do this big giant piece. So you can pick and choose what you like. You can make it your own. It's very easy. The way it's laid out makes it very easy to pick and choose which block you want. So just keep that in mind. If you like the Gowrons, but there's certain images you don't care for, or if you just don't want to do something this big, because it is big. It's 614 stitches long, I think. It's not super wide, but... Oh, and then here's a list of all the other Gowron Hall designs. So they have a houses, a village, a shores, Christmas, that's one on my list. I think there's a map, which is on my list. Year, that's on my list. Halloween. So this is how far I've gotten, or that I got on. So last time you just saw the border was complete, and then I was able to get in and start on, I have that leaf, the corn on the cob, the little, is that supposed to be a crow? I don't know. And part of the pumpkin. So that's what I got done on this. I really like stitching on it. This is on a 32 count even weave fabric from Bestitch Me. The color is Vanilla Latte. It kind of has an orange tint to it. So it's really perfect for an autumn piece. And actually this is the same fabric I'm using for all of my Gowron Hallos so far, because it just works on everything. It works on spring, it works on Halloween, and it works on autumn. So my plan for this piece is, I've mentioned a couple times, and I'll talk more in depth about this at the end of this month, but I'm going to join in WIPGO, which is by Jessie Marie from Jessie Marie Does Stuff, started it. So this is going to go on my WIPGO board. So when the number is called that I have this slot in, I'm going to give this 10 hours a month. So this will come out sometime this year, between July and December. I think I actually have this on my WIPGO board twice, so we'll get another 20 hours yet this year. I just don't know when. It depends on when the numbers are called. So hopefully in those 20 hours, I can get the top border done and maybe a little bit into the first block, if I'm going to meet that goal of half done by next October. All right, next up is my temperature tree. I did get caught up on this. This is a chart by Stitching Mommy that tracks the temperature of the year. Each branch represents a month, and each leaf on the branch represents a day. And you have a color, so the temperature ranges are about 4 or 5 degrees. She has several charts for colors, so if you live in a very warm climate, which I think is the one she uses because she lives in Southern California, so the colors can be a little bit different and the ranges are a little bit different. I'm doing the seasonal one, I think, because we can get quite cold here. We're pretty temperate, but we could get quite cold. So I'm doing the more seasonal one. But that's what it will look like. And here's my progress. So this is on a 32 count light blue Lugana. I don't know where I got the fabric from, but that's what it is. And this is our May branch, all done and completed. You can see these bright kind of salmon colored. Those are in the 90s, the low 90s. This one, this bright one, I think that was 95. I think we got up to 95 one day. And now we're cooled down, and you can see this range. There's a bunch of the... Okay, I'm going to have to cut that out because my Mac just turned off somehow. But it kept recording. It was very strange. So these greens right in here are all the same temperature range. So we've been pretty temperate. So now I need to work on building up this trunk and doing the June branch and get those June dates in as well. So that's my temperature tree by Stitching Mommy. We are almost halfway done with that. So that will feel like a really good accomplishment to keep up on that. And it doesn't take very long. The branches take a little long, but to do the leaves, typically work on it on Sundays, and it doesn't take very long. And then next up, and I think this is the last WIP, is Harbor Haven Scene Number 8 by the Bay Needle Arts. And again, I apologize about the bad quality picture. This is when I had my inkjet and it ran out of ink. But that's what it's going to look like. It has water in here that you can't see at all. And this is how far I've gotten on that scene. Now, last time you saw it, I had most of this tree done and about half of this filled in. I finished up that tree fluff. And then down here, I have this little lamb. This is going to be some fencing that I'm working on, and then some little flowers in the grass, and then I build up from here. So this is as wide as it's going to be, and then we just build up from here, and we fill in. And I only worked on this last night because I was working on Balmy Spring Day. Let's see, we started that on Monday, and then I had to get caught up on the temperature tree. So I really only worked on this last night. So this will be a focus piece moving forward this week. It was really funny. I started feeling, because I was working on Balmy Spring Day and not Harbor Haven, I started feeling, oh my gosh, I'm getting really behind this month. And how am I going to fit in? Because I want to finish Harbor Haven. I want to finish the first block of Spring at Run Hallo. And then I have all these other things. And how am I going to finish this? And then I realized it was only June 2nd. And I still have almost the entire month ahead of me. So this is stitched on a 32 count Belfast linen in vintage smoky white. It is a fairly loose linen. I do this 2/2. I like 2/2. I really like stitching with 2 threads. So it works for me. So that is what I've worked on this week. Now on to haul, just a little bit of haul. I got a Gowron Hall, so I'm very excited about that. First up, I don't have any Halloween bags because I'm not a Halloween stitcher, except now I am. So I picked up this Halloween. Isn't that cute? Really cute. Look, there's a black kitty like Jack. You guys love seeing Jack in last week's video. Got some great comments about that. And then the inside is candy corn. I love candy corn. So isn't that cute? And then, of course, I got the matching 11 by 11 grime guard. I don't know why I never thought to put them on empty Q-snaps to show them to you before. My friend Robin did this in her most recent video, Bird's Eye Stitcher, on Flosstube. She did this in the video I watched last night, and I thought it was genius because you can get a better sense of what the pattern on the grime guard looks like a little bit stretched out. So I got the matching grime guard. And this is the 12 by 13 inch bag. They fit an 11 by 11 Q-snap just perfectly, and you can fit some thread and the pattern in there as well. It gets pretty tight, especially if your fabric, if there's a lot of excess fabric, you might want to go up a size. They have a 12 by 18 inch bag as well, but the 12 by 13 is my favorite size. And then I could not turn this one down. Look at these kitties. They're so bright and colorful and funky, and they're kitties, and I love this bag. And then look at the inside pattern. It is so cute, so pretty. I got the matching mini because you know I like a set. Same interior. Very cute. And then I got the 11 by 11 grime guard. So maybe this will be my screen grab. So these mini bags, somebody asked me what I use them for and why I need so many of them. They didn't quite ask it like that. They asked it much nicer than that. But that was essentially, why do you have so many of these? What I use these for is So I have one main one that I transfer from project bag to project bag that has my scissors, my wart container, my needles, all of that. That is just like the one main one that I put in whatever project bag I'm working on. Then the other ones that I use, sometimes I don't use them, to be fair, but a lot of times I use the thread keeps, the plastic ones. I've showed them before. I don't think I have any convenient to show you, but I'll show them to you next time because I just ordered a bunch more from Amazon because mine are being all used in various projects. But sometimes there's extra threads, so when I put them on the thread keeps, I would only put one skein, but if a project calls for 2 or 3 skeins, I would put them in here. Sometimes a project will call for beads or krynic or something. I'm not going to put krynic on my thread keep, right? So I'm going to put like the little add-ons into these bags. So sometimes they aren't used, and sometimes they are. But I like to have the set just because, you know, the idea is that I will finish a project and then this project bag will go to a different project, and so maybe I don't need it for the project I'm currently working on, but I will in the future. So that's what I use those bags for. And then I forgot to show this last week. And so I got a postcard in the mail from Buckeye Stitcher, my friend Nicole. She lives in Ohio, and she is on the work group that puts on StitchCon for everybody. And she sent me this sweet postcard. She said she was sending me Ohio since I couldn't be here this year. They had to cancel StitchCon because of COVID-19. And so we're restarting the countdown. But Nicole, I'm so sorry I forgot. I had left it downstairs. I left it downstairs on my kitchen counter so I could look at it. And I forgot to bring it up last week to show you. And look, there's a Buckeye. So the sweet card and this super sweet note from Nicole, Buckeye Stitcher. I'll link her down below. She has a whole bunch of cats too, and I love that about her. I mean, I love other things about her. Her stitching is great too. So if you're allergic to cats, you can still watch her. And then I got my monthly color and cotton fabric of the month in the mail. I'm in the neutral club. I get the 32 count Lugana, as you can see. And this month is Swiss Coffee, and that's pretty accurate. It's like a very pale, very, very pale brown, tan. So yeah, I got that. That will be added to my stash, which is great. So now I have 2 pieces. I've done 2 months of the fabric of the month for color and cotton. So it's nice to have those pieces in my stash. So that's it for haul. Not too much. Let's do giveaways. So this has happened to me before, where the YouTube comment picker that I use to randomly select the word that I give you, the keyword that I give you guys to choose, it isn't working this morning. This has happened once before, a couple months back. I've tried everything, and then it just started working one day. So I'm going to keep checking, but it did not work this morning. It was saying no comments. I couldn't find any comments. And I know that people commented that they wanted to win these. So our stack of giveaways will have to wait another week. So I apologize about that. But we're going to go ahead and give away a few more charts just to keep on top of things here. And this was really fun to do again this week, to come up with words, because I like challenging you guys a little bit. But first up is we're going to give away, this is Little House Needleworks. The packaging is just a little ragged. I'm not sure why. I think it was just like, you know how sometimes you get like in a set of these, you sometimes get some with little strings on them. I'm tempted to pull them off. I probably will after I turn this video off. Anyway, Little House Needleworks. This is ABC Samplers. This is number 5, LMN. If you could easily leave those letters off if you just wanted to stitch the ornament. And the keyword for this one is going to be 5, but write it out. Make sure you spell it out, F-I-V-E. So because that's what I'm going to search for. I'm going to search for the word 5 because this is number 5 in the series. Okay. Really cute. This would be perfect for Christmas in July if you're doing that, or July to July, or whatever you want to call it. Next up is Country Spirits. Here's Hearts Aplenty. You get 2 charts in this one. A heart. They're both hearts. a Halloween chart and a snowman chart. They are small. I'm trying to look for if they give the stitch count. I'm not seeing the stitch count. They're like 40 by 50 each one, I would say. Somewhere in there. It looks like there's charms in there. It does not come with those charms. But you could find, it tells you what charms to get. And if you can't find those, then you can probably find something similar to put in there. But if you want to stitch this, it's Hearts of Plenty Chart 2, Autumn and Winter. So we're going to use the number 2. See what I'm doing here? So TWO. That 2. The number 2, spell it out. TWO. Really cute. And then the last one for this week is called We 3 Plum Tree Samplers. And it's the 3 Jonah, Noah, and Esther. This is from 2010. It calls for crescent colors, and I haven't checked. I'm sure there's a DMC conversion inside, or you can find one online. So for this one, we're going to use the word 3, THREE. Make sure you spell it out. So we have a numbers theme. So that was fun. There were a couple others that I wanted, but their numbers would have been 2 and 5 also. So I thought, well, that's going to get really confusing. So I'll save those for next time. So that's the giveaways for this time. Make sure that you're 18 so you can give me your address. Don't say giveaway or win or anything like that in the comments, and make a sentence with those 3 keywords. Or if you don't feel creative and don't feel like making a sentence, you can just say I'd like to stitch number whatever the keyword is of whichever ones you want to stitch. I have sent out most of everybody's winnings from the last couple weeks. I went to the P.O. Box yesterday and sent a big batch out. There are a few of the small ones, so if you have a small one you're waiting on, I'm going to get those sent out today. I just ran out of time to write out a little card to you. Now, plans for this coming week. What we're going to do is because you're going to help me. You're going to help me work on Harbor Haven number 8. That is really going to be the focus piece for this week to make some good progress on that. I'm going to continue working on the temperature tree. During Mania, I moved the day I work on temperature tree to Mondays from Sundays. I think I'm going back to Sundays now that Mania is over. And 2 big new starts this week. So, first up with Gary, and there's a few others, Dee and Matthew. I know you're doing this as well. We're going to be starting Marabella cross stitch. Of course it's cross stitch. I was reading. It's called Royal Holiday. Marabella. This will be my first Marabella. Mostly calls for DMC. There's about 35 colors. There are beads. There's some Kryneck, and there's some Whisper. Whisper by Rainbow Gallery called for in here. So we're going to be starting this. I think Dee and Matthew started this a little bit early. Dee's birthday was yesterday, so happy birthday, Dee. So they started this a little bit early for Dee's birthday. Gary and I are starting it on Monday. So you can stitch along. We're going to have hashtag Royal Holiday Sal, and then there's Royal Holiday Birthday Sal, I think is these. I'll put them down below so you can hashtag for both, use both hashtags. And for this piece, I am going to be using this darker fabric. This is Neverland Sea by Fabrics by Stephanie. And it's not super dark, but it's a bit darker. I thought she would just look really pretty on a darker fabric. And, oh, this is what I was talking about, the thread keeps that I buy from Amazon. This is how I kit up my projects. I buy these plastic thread keeps. You can get them. They sell them in a pack of 20 for around $13, $14. And I use, these are removable. They're like garage sale tags or something. I don't know what they're actually called. But they're removable. So you could also use painter's tape. I know I've seen people use just a strip of painter's tape. And I just write the DMC number. Sometimes I write the symbol on it. I don't know why I didn't on this one, but I didn't. So I've started getting my floss ready for this. So won't that be pretty on that fabric? Yeah, so, and I leave the top ones, just so you know, I leave the top ones blank for when I'm working on a thread. If I'm done with the color, I have a place to put it. So that's why that's big. So we're going to start that on Monday. So, and this will be an ongoing stitch along, so you can really start at any time. And I have this in this little Gowron bag. This is a very, very old bag. It's a random size. It's not one of their normal sizes. That they gifted to me very kindly a long time ago. It's probably been a year or so. And it fits in there just nice. So we're going to be starting that with Gary and Dee and Matthew. We're going to be starting that. And then Jan Hicks and I are at it again. We're going to be starting Bayou Cat by Al Forest Embroidery. We both have the kit. Cat, get it? We were going to start this in person at StitchCon. So we are starting this on Thursday, June 11th. So if you have an Al Forest embroidery kit you would like to start with us, go ahead and start with us. These kits are great. It has everything you need inside. Woo. There's the fabric. Actually, it looks a bit like a vanilla latte that I'm doing my Run Hallos on. It has the floss all ready to go. It has the floss tags with the symbols on it. They give you all these little goodies, the patterns. There's even a needle minder and a needle in there. So I am set to go. I think, Jan, we're filming another stitch with us for this, so stay tuned for that. That should be coming later this week. And those are the plans. So we got some big plans coming up this week. So I think that's everything I have to. All she wrote. So I hope you have a great stitchy week. I hope you're finding some peace and calm in the midst of everything that's happening in the world. Remember that you are loved. Take care, and I'll see you next week. Bye.